This is how I would become a data analyst if I had to start all over again. No BS, no fluff. This is the exact approach I would take. For context, I currently work as a senior data analyst with over 9 years of experience. I work with data every single day. I've recruited many data analysts for my teams. I've worked in multiple industries over the years. I know what it takes to become a data analyst, even if I'm starting from scratch. This isn't theory. This is all the stuff I learned from life and work experience. People overcomplicate the process and they give up halfway. That is not us. We are winners. Let's do this. First thing I would do is learn the basics of Excel. I will try to understand how VLOOKUP tools work, how pivot tables work, how to identify duplicates and data types in Excel. Nothing too fancy. Honestly, Excel is really powerful and there are some crazy formulas that you can use, but day to day in my current role as a data analyst, I do most of my data transformation using other tools. So yeah, Excel foundations are good, but I'm not going to spend months on Excel. Time is money. As a data analyst, you should be doing most of your data transformation in other systems, as Excel can be quite manual. Excel is something that I would use for simple tasks, so I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole and learn every formula. I'll get comfortable and move on. Next, I would go learn SQL. For that, I would do DataCamp's SQL Associate course. I actually used DataCamp 10 years ago when I first started getting into data analytics. Even in today's time, I would do the exact same thing. I think their courses are really solid and beginner friendly. Nothing too overwhelming and easy to digest. I'm just getting into coding. I don't want to get stressed out by installing all these complex programs on my computer. I don't want to solve any really hard algorithms. I want to ease my way into it. Saying that, I'll do the SQL Associate Data Analyst track on DataCamp. That would be my choice. If you can't afford to do a course, go on YouTube, just type in SQL tutorial and you can follow along. That is the free method and it's completely up to you. But personally, if I'm going to learn something, I do want to get rewarded, and getting a certificate at the end is always nice. I like having certifications on my resume. I think it just makes it look more professional. Down the road, I might be competing with people with experience already or people with university degrees. So I know having certifications on my resume does help. It doesn't guarantee me a job, but it doesn't make my chances worse as well. I will be sure to bookmark the W3 School SQL website. This is a very useful free resource, and I can refer back to this page if I need any information on a SQL function. Next thing I will do is complete the IBM Data Analyst course. This course will teach me Excel, SQL, and Python fundamentals, which are very handy skills to have as a data analyst. As mentioned, I'm doing this for the certification as well as learning the fundamentals. Honestly, I will just try to power through and complete this course as soon as possible. If I really focus, I can probably get it done in a month or two. My goal right now is just to build up my skills and my resume as quick as possible. The IBM Data Analyst course is going to help me do that. Next, I would go learn Power BI. Personally, I would do the Power BI DataCamp course. This course will teach me all the fundamentals of Power BI. It will teach me everything about DAX, and I'll get a certificate at the end to pop on my resume. Again, you can learn Power BI on YouTube. It's personal preference. I'll do the course because it just covers all the bases. For Power BI, I would really focus on learning how to use DAX. During this time, I would focus on understanding how DAX works in Power BI and how to build/understand how dashboards work. As a guide, I will bookmark a website called dax.guide. It's a really cool website. It's completely free and it has all the DAX functions in there so you can refer back to. Disclaimer, not all data analyst roles requires data visualization skills. I've had roles where I've never built a dashboard. I've had other roles where all we do is dashboards. In reality though, it's just a really good skill to have as a data analyst. And it's a skill that we'll need for our next step for my master plan to become a data analyst as soon as possible. Really quickly though, before we move on, if you need any help landing your first data analyst job, check out my free Path to Data Analyst kit. There are all types of goodies in there, like a study tracker, course recommendations, free resources, a note system, a project board, and much more. It's completely free. I built it to help you guys out. The link will be in the description and the pinned comment. Let's continue. Next, I would create a data portfolio. This is the most important step. And honestly, this is where a lot of people go wrong. I get hundreds of comments on my TikTok and Instagram account saying, "Hey Ando, I'm not getting any callbacks, I'm not getting any job offers." I always reply with, "Do you have a good portfolio?" The answer is always no. If you want to land your first job as a data analyst, a good portfolio is super important. Remember, you don't have any experience yet, so a portfolio is going to be proof that you can do the job and you can bring value. Anyways, a data portfolio is where I will host all of my data projects. For my projects, I would focus on solving business problems. I try to stay away from generic projects that everyone else makes. I think those are a big mistake. You don't want to blend in with the crowd, you want to stand out. I'm also not going to make any projects about my interests either. Imagine I make a project about my Pokemon collection. Companies don't care about your Pokemon collection, okay? They care if you can solve a business problem from start to finish. Here is how I would create my projects. I'll think of a business problem and I will pretend I'm a senior data analyst already. Like they say, you gotta fake it until you make it. I would write up a business scenario, the business problem, and the requirements. Requirements in plain English just means what the business is asking of you, and depending on what they give you, you can use those metrics to deliver your project. Once I have all of that, I need a data set. To get a data set, a lot of people do use Kaggle these days. It's a really good resource, but I just find it hard to find a data set that matches one of my business scenarios. Instead of using a data set where other people have used, I'm going to create my own. I want to stand out. To do that, I'm going to use AI. I know the AI age is coming. I'll make a video about that in the future, but for now, we gotta use it to get ahead. On that note, I'll go to DeepSeek AI and prompt it to create a data set based on my business requirements. The reason why I use DeepSeek instead of ChatGPT is because of the limit on the usage. I noticed when I use ChatGPT, it will always give me a message, hey, you have surpassed your limit. That was a bit of a headache. DeepSeek doesn't have that issue, so it's all good. I recommend using them. Anyways, once I have my data set, I'll use my SQL skills that I learned to transform the data. This is where I want to really showcase the SQL skills that I have to my future boss. I really want to send a message to be like, yo, I know what I'm doing. I will try to use some SQL functions like joins, case whens, date adds, like, between, the list goes on. After I work my magic, the data is all cleaned, then I will connect Power BI to my SQL database. The reason why I do that is because I want to show that I can actually automate my dashboard. Normally in a live environment, a database will refresh daily. So if my Power BI dashboard is connected to my database, automation is very possible, and I want to show that I understand that. Another thing I want to say is knowing Power BI is so useful just because it makes your project pop. Imagine a non-recruiter technical person looked at your resume, checked out your portfolio, and when they check your project, it's just a page of code. They are going to be like, this is a little bit boring, I don't understand what's going on. Adding a dashboard visually makes your project look really nice. On that note, I would build a professional looking dashboard using the data that I cleaned with SQL previously. I will try to make the dashboard clear and easy to understand, and I will try to make the dashboard useful. My dashboard has to solve a business problem based on the requirements I gathered earlier. Your documentation, your SQL script, your dashboard, it all needs to tie together and make sense. Once I'm done with all of those components, I'll make sure that everything is well documented. I'll document the process, how the data was cleaned, how the dashboard works, insights that we found, and at the end, I'll make some recommendations based on the data. Project done. So on my journey, I'll make 2 or 3 of these projects to really show off my skills and polish my portfolio. You don't want any more than 3 projects. Recruiters and hiring managers don't have all day to look at your portfolio, so I would condense all of my effort into 2 to 3 projects and keep adding to them as I go. Now that I have a portfolio, I'm just going to optimize my LinkedIn. I want it to look professional so recruiters can reach out to me or I can reach out to other people. I would also update my resume and add my data projects to that. Since that I'm applying for my first data analyst jobs, I do want to show off my skills with data using my projects. Next, I will network as much as possible. I'll go to in-person events and talk to everyone, ask a lot of questions. I will try to find a mentor and just generally connect with people in the industry. When you get a referral and someone likes you, your chances are going to increase. I would also take advantage of my current role. Before I actually became a data analyst, I was actually working in a call center. Saying that, what I would do is approach the data team and say, hey, I want to be a data analyst. I have a portfolio. I've built all these projects. I know SQL, I know Power BI, I know Excel. How can I help? Can I sit with you guys for once a week and learn? People are generally pretty nice if you're interested in their work, and I've seen so many people do this. Once the data team gets to know me and see what I can do, they would promote me internally and I'll get a data analyst position role. While waiting for that internal promotion though, I would apply for as many jobs as possible. It's a numbers game. Don't be scared of rejection. I would go for roles that don't need experience. I would get contract roles, junior roles. I don't care. I just want to get my foot in the door Once I do that, I know I can make this a career. Eventually, an opportunity will open up. I'll get an interview. I'll probably get many interviews and I'll probably do really bad at them at first, but I'll get better at interviews and eventually a hiring manager will see my portfolio. They can see what I can do and I'll get hired as a data analyst. That is exactly how I would become a data analyst if I started all over again. I know that was a lot, but the number one advice that I can give you that trumps everything else, and the one thing I want you to take from this video, if you are on this path, is to become obsessed. You just got to put in the work, put in the hours. You got this. Remember to like and sub. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.